Oh, that was a good one. All right, we're back. And as you can see, I'm in the middle of chores. I'm all hot and sweaty. It's a lovely day. It's about 75 degrees, so I do tend to sweat when I'm wearing long clothes. But basically, I'm doing a little series on just maintenance chores. And the campsite is an area that I like to keep sort of presentable, and so I can enjoy it and have friends over to enjoy it for the whole of the summer. But I'm a little late starting, and as you can see, this area here is just completely overgrown. None of these plants are normally here. This is all sort of kept back a little bit, so this is a safe area to cook. There's a grill under here, and all around the camp is just basically exploded and overgrown. So I'm going to get the weed whacker and my trusty brush axe and take care of a lot of that. Make this a little bit more presentable and pull the cover off, see what winter has done to it, what animals have camped inside it. Anyway, so that's today's chore. Okay, that's about as much damage as I want to do with the weed whacker. What I want to do now is go through and take out any of the big stalks that were left behind that sort of give it a slightly sort of ugly feel and make it a more tapered, natural feel, with small plants at the front and then the bigger plants sort of further back, deeper into the forest. So that's what I'm going to do, and I'm just going to use my brush axe, which is this thing with a hook, which is super useful for pulling things out by the roots and, you know, cutting things down, and then obviously a machete blade. That's super useful. And the other tool I'm going to be using is just clippers. Yeah, anything like that I've killed will, you know, just going to look ugly sticking up here. And of course, anything that's a Himalayan blackberry, I'm going to get rid of. Invasive species. I love blackberries, but my God, are they hard to deal with. That's the log I laid down to sort of delineate where the weed whacking should stop, and so that's now exposed again, so that'll be good. And that whole area is clear, which means nothing's going to grow back at least until next spring, so it'll be safe to grill, and there's less chance that the blackberries will encroach and start, you know, scratching people. Anyway, I'm hungry. I'm going to forage for some berries and stuff. If you want to tag along for that. Salmonberry season, so that's probably all I'll find, but they're refreshing. They're not exactly sweet, but oh, there's some. Oh, that was a good one. Leave those for the birds. That one's going to be good. And this is literally just right on the side of one of my paths. And that's the thing. Like, I've had a few comments that, oh, you should do a food forest. Well, it's a forest. You know, these naturally occurring native berries are everywhere. They're not necessarily on the path, but wherever they are on the path, I've tried to cultivate them, give them space, and, you know, open up areas that I know are really rich in those kind of resources. Like, there are definitely 2 or 3 spots on the property that I know for sure come blackberry season I'm just going to go through and get just pounds and pounds and pounds of blackberries, which is always nice, but they are a pain to keep under control. Like the California blackberries, the Himalayan blackberries, they are so invasive and they grow so fast, and they're so strong and thorny. I'm just happy that I've got a lot of salmonberry, because while they're not as delicious as blackberries, they're pretty nutritious and completely non-invasive native species. And this wasn't here like 2 years ago. This was probably all blackberries, and just by tamping down the invasive species, all of these other species have popped up, including the salmonberry. So, you know, free lunch, or a snack anyway. There's also a native blackberry, the Oregon SAWTOOTH Blackberry, which looks like this. Which is much less prolific, but also non-invasive. Wherever I see it, I try and encourage it and knock out the Himalayan blackberries around it. You know, to encourage the things I want and keep the forest as sort of natural and thriving as it can be. A lot of these invasive species will just totally destroy the forest. Like, there are areas in this forest where there are full-grown alders that have been brought down by blackberries. They'll just climb up and just slowly pull a tree over. Not an established tree, but any tree that's trying to survive. Like an 8-9 foot tall conifer tree could easily be brought down by blackberries. Anyway, I'm gonna go grab some food and then finish the campsite. Back in a sec. That's sort of survived okay, I think. This definitely needs a clean. This is the old fridge that was in my 1969 camper when I bought it. I never did test it, but it's a propane electric hybrid by Domatic, who are still making them today. So I don't know if it's any good or not. I'm sort of using it as a sort of a bear-proof cupboard. I learned a big lesson when I first created this campsite about just sun orientation. I'd originally put the kitchen at that end, which gets the afternoon and evening sun, which makes it almost impossible to spend any time cooking over a hot stove with the hot afternoon sun beating down on you. Whereas this end gets the morning, like very early morning sun, like 7 a.m. kind of when you're camping. So that's great for sort of warming things up a little bit and giving you lots of light when you want to cook breakfast and stuff. And then in the evening it's completely shaded, so it's lovely for cooking then too. But yeah, originally I had the two things oriented completely opposite. This raised area here was originally a camping deck, sort of, you could put 2, maybe 3 little tents on here and camp there, but it got that super early morning sun, which was not great if you wanted to sleep in. So yeah, I just switched the whole campsite around, and that's a lesson I learned. So like, if you want to build a campsite, think about where the sun's going to hit. You want the morning sun on the cooking area, I think, and the evening sun on your tents. Yeah, anyway, that's the way I've laid it out. None of this gets very much sun because it's in this sort of bowl of trees, so there's not actually very much direct sunlight, which is great. It feels very sort of contained and protected, and you still get to see the stars when there's a clear sky. And sit over the fire pit. Lots more chores to do. Got to bring down probably another 2 or 3 wheelbarrows full of wood chips down here. I might actually break out the little wood chipper and do a couple of the trails, because one of the trails I noticed has a lot of fallen branches on it and could do with some chips. So I might do another one of those, but I'm not going to film it because I've already filmed that and you can just go and watch it. It's called Spring Cleaning the Forest or something, chipping the trails. Anyway, it's all about wood chipping for trail maintenance, which is fun. Anyway, I'm going to get back to work, finish cleaning up the kitchen. I'm going to get back to that now. Thanks very much for watching.